What's perfect for your pet? Why, a reversible bandana. You can make a bandana to go with any occasion, so let's get started. Let's make some pet bandanas. Now, I'm going to focus on Christmas and Halloween. Those are both coming up, but this one is also a project that you can make without having a different print on the other side. So what we need to know is the distance between where your tags and labels are on your collar, how much room you actually have for a bandana. So a large dog, I'm suggesting that we would use a 13-inch square or 33 centimeters. And that's the project that I'm gonna make for my grand doggie, Heidi, who you just met. And I'll also make at the end one that's in solid, so there won't be a different print on the other side. So a square, 11 inches for medium, or 28 centimeters. So you're going to measure on your collar to see what size you need. And small is 9 inches, or 23 centimeters. Now to make two-sided, so a different print on the other side, we're going to fold these squares in half. We will cut two different prints and we'll sew them together on that long seam. I'm going to take my two prints and I'm going to put them right sides together with the print facing in the same direction, upwards. Our fold at the top of our square is the top of our bandanas. And I'm going to trace with my washable marker, pin it together, and I'm going to cut out with my scissors. All right, there we have two different prints, Christmas and Halloween. I'm going to mark the center with a notch. And now I'm going to sew across that long upper seam. I'm going to sew the two pieces together. Use about a 1 centimeter or 3/8 of an inch seam. I'm going to press it open or press it flat. I'll finger press it first, and then I'll use my iron. And then, like I do with a lot of my projects, I'm going to top stitch on either side of that seam that I just made. So now I'm pressing, and now I'm going to top stitch. Oh, and for that top seam, I use a small stitch, about 2.5. It needs to be strong. There's my top stitching. Now with my 13-inch square, I wanted 13 inches of finished bandana along the top where the collar is. So I'm going to divide my 13 inches in two, and I come up with 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters from the center. And I had put the notch in the center, but I've also put a pin there so you can see it. And now I'm going to measure 6.5 inches or 16.5 centimeters on each side from the center. And that gives me 13 inches across the top, which I determined was a good width and is also the width of our square that we started with. I'm going to use my ruler now to draw a straight line down from that mark that I just made with the pin. And that pin measures 6.5 inches from the center. And I'll do the same on the other side. I'll take out that center pin. And now I'm going to fold where I've just marked to make a tab. And that tab is going to give me a double layer inside the channel on either end where the collar is going to be inserted. So it actually adds a lot of strength, and then sewing it down is going to add some interesting sewing, a little design feature. So I will pin and finger press along that line, and now I'm going to sew all along the edge of that outside casing, and then I'm going to sew along the inside on that angle towards the center where the point is. And if you figure out that your pet needs a dimension that isn't one of the 3 that I've given, what you're going to do is measure between the tags or the D-rings or whatever you have that hold your tags that is part of your collar, and you'll make a square with that measurement. And you should end up with these good results. And you'll notice my ruffle scrunchy bracelet that I'm wearing. That was last week's project. I'll put a link to that video here. So the one I'm wearing I made with 1 1/4 inch elastic or 28 millimeter elastic, and it's quite comfortable. So I'm sewing close to the edge on the inside to hold that down, and also to make sure that it doesn't get caught on the collar when I feed it through, and I'll trim off those points, making sure that I don't cut my piece. Nice and neat and tidy, and adds a little bit of interest to the outside. All right, now I think you can see where we're going with this. Now I'm going to still continue to work right sides together, and I'm going to sew the bottom on from the point there, along the side, down to the point, around the point, and back up to the other side, leaving that channel at the top where we have a finished hem now with those tabs that we've sewn down, and leaving those open. So yeah, I'm going to do about a 3/8 of an inch seam all the way around, from pin to pin. Do a bit of back stitching. Needs to be strong. Turn. All right, now I'm going to just trim off that extra at the bottom where the point is, and turn it right side out. It's starting to look like Christmas. Oh, wait, it's Halloween. Use my iron to give it a good steam. And we're almost done. So now I need to close off that channel at the top where the collar is going to go sliding through. So I'll use my chalk to mark a sewing line, and then I'll top stitch all the way around in that triangle, down to the bottom point, and then back up to the other side. A few back stitches to get us started, and off we go. And this, once you get the hang of it, this is really fast and easy. This would be a super little addition if you have a sewing business. For me, I'm using up pieces of fabric that I bought for face masks, because of course I was in the fabric face mask business like all the other sewers in the world, and I have lots and lots of pieces of fabric that I just don't know what to do with. So pet bandanas, yay, is an idea, and yay again. Let's see if the collar fits. And you want to check the depth of your widest piece on your collar before you get started, because you may need to make a deeper channel, moving that tab in further towards the middle than I did. But look at that. We have a bandana. To do one that's just the same on both sides, I'm just going to cut the square with the same fabric, and I don't need that top seam. So that saves a step. And this will be a Christmas bandana for Heidi. And basically the same steps without sewing that top seam. So you're going to figure out where the center is. You can mark it with a pin or with your washable marker, and then measure out from that center to figure out where you're going to do the folding inwards for those tabs on either end. Make the tab the same way. We'll use our ruler to measure out 6.5 inches from that center mark on each side, because we decided that we were going to keep with the 13 inches. So for 12, for example, you would measure out 6 inches from that middle mark that we made, and then you end up with a deeper channel for your collar to slide through. Leave questions or comments below if you have any questions or comments, and I will make sure to answer all of them. And while you're at it, please like and subscribe to our channel. We have lots and lots of sewing projects with our 36-year career. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have fun with this project. Heidi likes her new bandanas, and she's a good girl. Trick or treat, Heidi? Of course it's a treat. You're such a good girl. What a good girl. From Heidi and me, goodbye.